Good people, what's going on? Another episode of the All Go Podcast. Please like and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. Want to talk a little bit about Clemson and Georgia Tech game last night. Boy, oh boy, I don't know if DJ Uiagalelei pulled the greatest magic act ever, but 2 years ago, that young man played against Notre Dame. I don't know if I'm sure everybody remembers it because it was like a pretty high ranked matchup, like a 3-4, 3-5 matchup, something like that. But Trevor Lawrence had tested positive for COVID, if I'm not mistaken, had to miss the Notre Dame game. It was the COVID season where Notre Dame was actually playing in the ACC conference and also was essentially a member of the ACC because they played in the championship game as well, the ACC championship. And DJ Uiagalelei looked like the best quarterback college football's seen in a whole long time. And basically, since that game, he has been mediocre at best. And I just don't understand it. But just the amount of tweets from people like Louis Riddick, who I think really highly of, and college football nerds, which they're also really good, and just a slew of other people just saying they just need to put in Cade Klubnik, I believe his name is, but five-star kid, true freshman, but DJ just looked shaky. They didn't want to throw the ball down the field. I watched a good chunk of that game, and I think he had one deep throw. It was like a corner route, but the throw was wide open, so it wasn't as if it was a super difficult throw that he had to make. But just overall, it's just an odd situation for a guy to have a debut the way that he did to now be to struggle the way that he's been struggling lately. Is just an interesting and odd thing. I'm not quite sure I remember QB having such a splash and then just being so inconsistent after that. And also, I watch and subscribe to the QB School, and JT O'Sullivan does breakdowns of quarterbacks, usually guys who are in college and going into the draft. But a couple years ago, he did a breakdown of Trevor Lawrence film, and he's done a couple of those. But he kind of looked at some offensive schemes and plays drawn up, and basically just said that, this isn't a great concept at all. Like, it was just, it really, when I say it was predicated on just your guys being like so much better. You can deal with that sometimes, but that shouldn't be a consistent theme of like, I'm just going to hope that my guys are better so we can run this concept. Like, it's like, we got 5 guys to block their 6, and just a lot of different things that, at a high level, like Clemson is, you'd love to see a little more creativity and just things where you have things kind of blocked up in a sound kind of way. But yeah, that part is interesting. And also too, I think I've mentioned this on another video, but just the situation that Dabo Sweeney is in right now with having to replace both of his coordinators in one offseason. And I say it all the time, mainly because I'm an Alabama fan, but he gets to live the Nick Saban life. And it is a very difficult thing to do because you have to make sure the culture fits. You got to make sure the guy, his scheme fits what you do. It also needs to, the scheme needs to fit the players that you have, not only in your building, but also, the incoming freshmen and things of that nature. It's not easy, and I think sometimes Nick Saban makes it look easy, but it's definitely not. And to be able to have to do 2 coordinators in one offseason is really difficult. They lost Tony Elliott to Virginia, if I'm not mistaken, and then Brent Venables to Oklahoma. And those were both guys who had been with Dabo for years. I know Brent Venables for multiple years, and Elliott, same thing. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be difficult. I know everybody it was, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Cade Klubnik is trending or was yesterday. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But from what I saw in that game, Clemson is not a top 4 team. But that also doesn't mean they won't win the ACC, be undefeated, and get in as one of the top 4. So we'll see what happens. But when I looked at Clemson and then I looked at Georgia, that looked really, really, really different. So we'll see what happens. It's week 1, so don't want to go too crazy with the overreactions, but it definitely looked different. So that's it for me. Appreciate it. Peace.